One of the best troubleshooting tools that I like to use for seeing whether a network connection is working properly is in Task Manager. Of course, you can pop up Task Manager by clicking, most people know, Control-Alt-Delete and then click Task Manager. There's a faster way, Control-Shift-Escape. Either way, if you go to the Performance tab, it will show you the network connections that you have available to you. And on some PCs, you can have quite a few of them. But if you click the one that's active and then look over to the right, you'll see a chart like this one. And there's two pieces of information here that are worth pointing out to people and that can be very, very helpful if they're calling you for assistance. The first one is it will tell you your send and receive speeds. So if they're trying to download something and you're seeing speeds like this, 130 megabits per second down and 1.1 megabits per second up, that's a very good solid network connection. If you see, on the other hand, 500K down and 24K up, maybe you've got a problem with your network that you need to troubleshoot a little further. The other piece of information here that is hard, especially for a non-technical person, to get anywhere else is your IP address. Both your IPv4 address and your IPv6 address are here. That can be useful information when you're troubleshooting, so encourage people to learn how to find that, and it'll make it a little easier for you to help them troubleshoot problems. Okay, so what I want to show you here is how you can use a second factor to authenticate yourself to Windows, to protect the security of your Microsoft account. And the way we're going to do this is, this PC has a local account on it. Now you would be in this exact same circumstance if you had upgraded this computer from, say, Windows 7. Where it had a local account on it. So in this case, I'm signing in just using my username and password. Nothing's connected to my Microsoft account. What I want to do now is change this to sign in with a Microsoft account instead. So what I'm going to do is type in my Microsoft account address there and my password, and I'm going to sign in. And of course, it's going to ask me to sign in with my current Windows password. Now what I'm doing is I'm switching from a local account to a Microsoft account. But now you'll notice here on this screen, it now shows my Microsoft account user address in the Outlook.com domain. But you'll notice down here that I need to verify my identity on this PC. Somebody who managed to get a hold of my Microsoft account credentials could have been doing this from their own PC, trying to pretend to be me to get access to my information in OneDrive and my email and such. So I need to verify my identity on this PC. So I'm going to verify this, and what it's done now is it's going to try to send a request to the Microsoft account app. Now, as it turns out, I'm in a building here where I don't have access to a cellular signal. So I can't get the information that I need from this request. But that's okay, because I can just enter a security code from my Microsoft app instead. Okay, and I've got my Android phone in front of me here. It's running the Microsoft account app, and it's giving me a series of codes. So I'm going to make a note of the 8-digit code here, and I'm going to go type it into the screen that's waiting for me here to verify my identity. 83165253, and I'm going to click Next, and there, I'm authenticated. Now, I just gave you the code that this app gave me. Isn't that a security risk? No, because that code was only good for about 30 seconds, and you don't know my, you know my user name and my email address, but you don't know my password. And if you were to try to impersonate me, you wouldn't have the code for the time when you tried to enter that. But now I'm authenticated on this device. It says, yes, you're you. I'm going to go ahead and start syncing settings, syncing your passwords, syncing all of your files from OneDrive. Ed, you're you. You're okay. We're going to make this happen. So that's how two-factor authentication works. Now let's talk about securing the data that's on your PC. And this is especially important for mobile devices. You're carrying a computer around with you. It can be lost. It can be stolen. You don't want whoever finds that computer to be able to get your secrets off of it. And the way to protect those secrets is to encrypt the device. Okay? Encryption makes sure that the only person who can read the data on that device is somebody who has your username and your password, and if necessary, your second-factor authentication device. Now, there's several ways that Windows 10 can help you encrypt data on your PC. The first is device encryption. Device encryption works on any Windows 10 device as long as you're signed in using a Microsoft account. When you do that, your system drive is completely encrypted, and nobody can get to the data on the device unless they sign in using your credentials. So they have to steal both your device and your username and password in order to be able to get to your data. The second encryption feature is available only in the Pro, Enterprise, and Education editions of Windows 10. It's called BitLocker Drive Encryption. Requires, well, it doesn't really require, but it works best on a modern system that has a chip called a Trusted Platform Module, TPM. And BitLocker Drive Encryption adds an extra layer of encryption that goes beyond device encryption, and it works even without a Microsoft account. It's the corporate standard for encryption. And then finally, there's BitLocker To Go, which you can use to protect the contents of a removable flash drive. And this is really important. People carry around potentially valuable information, documents that might have your personally identifiable information on them on flash drives all the time. And what BitLocker To Go allows you to do is to encrypt that flash drive so that you have to unlock it with a password. So if you accidentally lose the drive, you leave it behind in a hotel room or on an airplane, and somebody finds it, they can't get your data off of it because they don't have your password. Sometimes some of the problems that happen to people happen because of a new device driver that's come down. It happens. Device drivers can be delivered automatically by Windows Update, or somebody can go and install one, or maybe a third party set up an updating program. But occasionally they cause problems. And so when that happens, what you need to be able to do is uninstall that device driver. The first place you start is by opening Device Manager. You can press Windows key plus X. That opens the Power Users menu. Click Device Manager, find the device, double-click it, and you get to this screen right here. Now in this case, remember a little earlier I said that I had noticed that there was an NVIDIA driver update that had been installed. If I was suspicious that that was the cause of a problem, I might want to uninstall that driver and see if the problem goes away. So what I do is I click the little button down at the bottom there that says uninstall. I'm going to get a box here that says confirm device uninstall. And for a third-party driver that's been recently added, I'm going to get an extra box here that's very important that says delete the driver software for this device. I want to make sure that's checked, and then I'm going to click OK. And what that's going to do is I might have to restart, but that should take us back to the previous version that was in there, the one that was working correctly.
WSUS and SSCM, Windows Server Update Service. This would be the server that you would use on site to use these patches or to distribute these patches. So it's a main system. So you have thousands of devices on your network, thousands of computers on your network. Do you really want those thousands of computers to individually go to Microsoft, download those? Think about the network bandwidth, think about your internet traffic. That can be really, really high. So instead, what you can use is a Windows Server update service to be a central funnel. So everything's downloaded to the Windows Server, then you point your clients to this Windows Server, then it distributes the patches. By using a WSUS server, you can figure out other cool things and other cool directions that you want your network to go.
That's very true. Now, WSUS and SSCM, terrific tools. WSUS is actually an included tool now in server, if I remember correctly. There was one version where I remember the documentation said it was and it wasn't, or it wasn't and it was. But it's there. Windows Server Update Services is all part of the OS. Config Manager expands on Server Update Services with a ton of additional functionality and also includes updates. Kind of a neat little fact about SSCM, it doesn't replace WSUS. It actually just becomes a management abstraction layer for your existing WSUS infrastructure. So you're still going to need WSUS.
Right. And the nice thing about these two tools is as patches come out, we all have unique environments. Everybody uses a little bit different tools, a little bit different combination of tools. As these patches come out, it's nice to verify that these patches don't cause or create any problems in your environment. Using WSUS and SSCM, you can basically create a delay of when these patches are sent to your clients that give you a window of opportunity to test them and ensure that they work appropriately in your environment. You can make sure that the patch is safe to deploy, click it, and then boom, it can go out to all the clients. Mm-hmm.
And it's always a good idea if you have people that you support to make sure that they have these backup options turned on. The first one's called File History, and it's new in Windows 10. It requires an external drive, typically a external USB hard drive or a USB flash drive if it's big enough. You can find it in Settings. You just go to the Update and Security page, click Backup, and as you can see here, you just turn the switch to automatically back up my files, and it will walk you through the process of enabling file history on that. I won't go through all the details of how you specify a drive and what you do to recover files from it. Those are in Windows 10 inside out, and they're well worth reading. Now, what happens though if that driver was delivered through Windows Update? If the driver came through Windows Update, you put the old one back there, and the next thing that happens is Windows Update is going to try and install it again. So what we need to do is use a troubleshooting tool available from Microsoft called the Windows Update Show Hide Updates Troubleshooter. And I'm going to give you a quick demo of that right here. Okay, you can search online for the WU Show Hide. That's the name of the troubleshooter. And when you find it, you just copy it to your computer, put it on the desktop, put it in your downloads folder, double click, and this is what it looks like. Show or hide updates. Gives you this little advanced option here that says you can apply repairs automatically if you want, but here's the meat of it. Click Next. It's going to go through and it's going to scan the system that you're working on, and it's going to look for a list of updates that are available that are specific to that system. And in our case, we're going to go through and we're going to choose Hide Updates, and we're going to try and find the update that is going to be delivered next. Now that NVIDIA driver isn't here, but just for fun, let's hide the Intel Watchdog timer driver here. So we'll click Next and go through that. It says that it's resolving problems. What it's actually doing is hiding that driver. Now, if you've done your troubleshooting and you've determined that that's not the problem, or that Intel has come out with a new driver for that component, and now you can safely trust it to be installed, you go back and you run the Show or Hide Updates troubleshooter again, and it'll go through the same process of gathering a list of updates that are available, and this time you're going to show the updates that you previously hid. And you're going to click that one, you're going to click Next, and now the next time that you connect to Windows Update on this computer, that driver update will be delivered to you automatically. It's a great troubleshooting tool. It'll solve a lot of problems that people have with driver-related issues. Sometimes troubleshooting doesn't solve the problem. Sometimes you just can't figure out what's wrong, or you know that you could spend hours trying to track down the cause of a particular problem, and there's no guarantee that you're going to find the problem. There's no guarantee that you're going to find the solution. So sometimes the simplest solution is simply to reset the computer and start fresh. Fortunately, Windows 10 has that capability built in. Now, this is something that's been in the product since it was released back in the summer of 2015. If you've used Windows 8 and Windows 8.1, you saw an earlier version of this, but it's very, very slick in the latest builds of Windows 10, less complicated, and literally a one-button solution. This screen shows you what the reset screen might look like on a system that you're using if you're in the Windows Insider program and you've been installing different builds along the way. You can go back to an earlier build if you're having problems with one. But it's that button up at the top, reset this PC, that's going to be the one that helps out the people that you're supporting. So let's do a quick demo. I'll show you how that works. And as with so many things in Windows 10, your starting point is the search box. Tap the Windows key, type the word reset, and right there at the top, you get reset this PC. Now you'll notice that because this is an end user system, they're not in the Windows Insider preview program, there's simply one button there. You click reset this PC, get started, and you're going to be given two options. You can keep my files. It's going to remove all your apps and all your settings, but it keeps your personal files, or you can remove everything. Now that second option is good if you know you've got solid backups for all the user's files, but it's also good if you're looking at a PC that you want to repurpose. You're planning to give it away or sell it, and you want to remove all your personal information from it. So you just click the remove everything option from it, and once you choose that, it'll get things ready, and it'll give you one final confirmation screen. When you hit the reset button there's no turning back. It's going to reinstall the most recent build of Windows 10 minus the most recent update, just in case the most recent cumulative update is the thing that caused the problem. But it usually takes just a few minutes and you're back to a fresh start, and do a little bit of installation of apps from the store, maybe reinstall Office, and if you need to, recover a few files, but you'll be back in business.